Hello everybody, welcome to my Balrog build. I basically have a really cool setup for this build at this moment. I basically went the Titan, got into hulking form, as well as the ancestral empowerment. Got a lot of physical damage and armor nodes along the way, fire, skill speed, shape-shifting, rage, skill speed, physical damage, fire, empowerment, physical damage, slams, and armor. You can copy-paste this, make a screenshot of it if you have to. There's another section over here with the Warcry setup, which I will cover later. As well as this little section over here. So let's just get into the deep of it, right, shall we? So why I chose Titan is basically because of the slams. The slams are really nice, as well as I was hoping or thinking that if Druid or Bear or whatever wouldn't work, then I would basically switch over to a Titan. Just a melee build. But it did work. The campaign was really rough, but in the end I managed to push through till the end game. Currently running tier 15s now, and yeah, it's working out pretty good. So, first 2 points, just grab these as melee damage. I might make a complete leveling guide if this goes well, and there is a lot of people with questions about the leveling guide. I will make that. But basically get as much fire damage as possible. This is really good damage boost early. Skill speed. I've gotten into the shape-shifting stuff over here. Later I only grab these points. So until you've gotten Walking Calamity, Savage Fury and all those other things, then I would actually spec into these. These are not mandatory early game, mid game whatsoever. Just until you get the Walking Calamity, it will boost your uptime of this by a lot, but it's certainly not mandatory. Physical damage, rage, maximum rage, rage on hit, stuff like that. Then I went into here. Didn't grab these until later, so you can drop these and just go back to the middle section and grab all the other goodies when it comes to damage. But I grabbed these fire nodes as well, because being ignited basically gives me a lot of armor and a lot of fire damage. Because of this node self-immolation. Ignites you cause or reflected back to you, and it has reduced magnitude of ignite. So these total nodes are 84%. And that comes to the node hulking form because of the small passive skill increase effect. I would still get 100%. I haven't tested it without this node, but I'll come back to that later. As well as being a molten being, gain 5% of extra fire damage. Really strong, really powerful. I've put that in weapon set 1 because I was run out of normal skill points, apparently. Later on, I grabbed these armor nodes. You don't have to really spec into these earlier, just go for raw damage, the same as for these. I got these nodes for the increased physical damage, increased aftershock area of effect. I've gotten these. I've gotten these just recently. This is going to be my last point for that area. And then I went up this path. This is actually the first path you're going to take. Leave those nodes for later on. If you have spec'd in these already. But these are also like mid to late game. You don't have to spec into these right away. Just get pure damage first. Because kill or be killed, I would say. Grab some more skill speed. I've got a pretty decent jewel with increased war cries and war cry damage and life regen. Which boosts my war cry, because I have the same interaction that Dreamcore did on his video, so shout out to him for that, which I cover in a moment. Weapons and 2, grab these 3 nodes, especially this one is really mandatory, Roaring Cries. grab these nodes along the way as well. If you get there, grab these ones for the Warcry speed and area of effect. Then I did all these passives also on the second skill set wheel. Grab all these ones, speed, damage, and as well the enemies you kill with empowered attacks have a 10% chance to explode. It's really, really good. And as well as the Howling Beast, Warcry inflicts 3 critical weakness on enemies, as well as some more Warcry speed. So that's pretty. That's just the nitty gritty of the weapon set of the Warcry setup. The first weapon set I basically put in these ones for the max rage, the physical damage, and the shapeshift stuff, as well as this wheel later on because I had some specced out points that I did not need. So I put this in my main to basically have more armor applies to elemental. So I'm 100% armor to elemental capped. As well as these nodes are also first weapon set. You can switch around whatever you like, but I found this the most optimal for now. Yep, that's that section. Next, I did invest in a From Nothing diamond. It's a wild switch incantation. Why we are going to get that is because of these ignite / burning area of effect nodes. These nodes themselves are really powerful for this setup, because if your initial hit doesn't kill the enemy, the ignite will. So next to that you also get some more increased area of effect, which combines nicely with this ancestral empowerment and aftershock effect on the Titan. Some burning damage, or the damage increased damage with hits against burning enemies. We always hit most of the time. Increased magnitude and ignite duration, and a lot of flammability magnitude, as well as the ignite -5 fire resistance on the enemies. Now, I'm not sure if that stacks with this one, Fire Pen 2, because hits from supported skills ignore enemy fire resistance. So if an enemy has 100 fire resistance, for example, and now they don't have any resistance, so it's basically ignoring it, which means that they would get -5, but, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, as well as it stacking with exposure effect, so it could get another X amount of percentage. I'm not sure if this was working as intended, or if it doesn't work at all, but let me know down in the comments if you know that it does. Next to that, I am going to spec in these last 3 nodes on the passive tree to increase my skill effect duration even further. That gives me about 50% total increased skill effect, which boosts my Walking Calamity, Savage Fury, and Lunar Assault buff from the Bataille's Vengeance also. But I need to get this out because of the conversion of all the physical damage to fire, or like mostly of it. This is really hard to proc, so it's kinda meh. I don't get it as much as I would like to, and it's really hard to stack up even with the freeze build up. So yeah, I might just leave this all out anyway because of the fire damage, or physical damage to fire conversion. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you don't get the procs, know that these that this rule, bear skills convert 80% of physical damage to fire, might be the problem. But I'm sure it says bear skills. So, and this is not a bear skill, so I'm not sure. Maybe just because of the low amount of physical damage you're doing. But it is what it is. I need to figure some stuff out on how to make that work even more better. But yeah, that's about it. That's the passive tree. While we are at it, basically the entire setup is, I need to fill this more out. I'm going to put this one here, so it's going to be like this, probably like this, or something in that. I'm not using Maul often for damage, but I'm basically doing it to animation cancel the Rampage, but you can also do that with the Roar setup. But it's determined by how fast you can switch it up. But it's not really that big of a difference, you see. So Slap and Fury, it's fine. If we use Roar and Fury, it's basically the same amount of time. So, oh, I killed myself. But yeah, that's it. Why I killed myself is due to blood magic. Don't spec into it until you have problems with mana and can sustain your life pretty easily by Vitality 2 or 1, as well as the Cannibalism. This gives you a lot of survivability in maps anyway, so while we are at it, we just go over that. Molten Crash is from the unique talisman itself. This talisman is pretty good, high rolled. And the reason why we don't care about the glory line right here is because of the interaction I'm going to talk about soon. But first, let's go over the skill gems real quick. Molten Crash, faster attack speed, Fist of War 3. Normally, this has a cooldown of 40 seconds. We bypass that due to the Ancestral Empowerment. So every 2 crashes you do, basically the second one deals double the area of effect and double the Ancestral boost damage. So it does get 60% more damage on the second slam and 50% more or increased area of effect. So it's really strong because you basically jump around all the time like a little bunny. Ferocious Slam, I've got in Fire Attunement, Rapid Attacks, as well as Fist of War 3 again, and Tectonic Slams. Tectonic Slams is really good for clearing in combination with the Molten Crash. You can leave that out, but it's a pretty nice damage boost. You can also put in increased area of effect as the last one, the same for this one, but I'm not sure what I'm going to put there yet. So, because of the damage is already really good, especially with all the buffs up, so just keep that in mind that there's still some optimization to do. Walking Calamity, I've got Ignite 3, Prolonged Duration, Fire Attunement, Fire Pen, and Conk Effect. If there's any other better setup I don't know about, just please let me know in the comments. That would really be appreciated. Because for now, this is working pretty well because we ignite a lot of stuff. And if they die from the Ignite, they basically get this this thing right here. Burning enemies you kill have 5% chance to explode. As well as having the kills with empowerment attacks have a chance to explode. In combination with that, as well as the Herald of Ash, it just makes sense to put in the Ignite with the more flammability magnitude, and the Ignites deal 50% faster. But maybe there is another way to improve that damage, because if I'm just walking around and igniting all the stuff around me, then it's already dead before it can even touch me most of the time. So Walking Calamity is like an ability. It's really good. It's really strong, but I'm not sure how to scale it properly because it's an attack and it has a lot of tags. But what the best is, I'm not sure. But we'll see. It's currently at about 17,000 DPS per second without buffs, without anything, so it can get a lot higher. Flammability magnitude is also about let's say 75%. So it's really easy to ignite enemies around us. The ignite damage is also about 3k ish DPS. So it's pretty nice, especially once I get the buffs up, it's getting a lot higher. Ferocious Roar, we will come to that in a second. I've got Berserk, Savage Fury, and Herald of Ash. Most important is the Herald of Ash. Later on, you can get in Berserk once you've got the Vitality and Cannibalism running. If there is not really any use for you for using Berserk, you can basically run Savage Fury, but I was more comfortable with the Berserk because it almost gives you, it's not that much damage, but it's more manageable. Um, but yeah, just feel whatever you're comfortable with. You can use some defense auras or just only Herald of Ash with cannibalism and vitality, because I've got 160 spirit to run this full setup, which I will come to in a moment. Again, Lunar Assault for the freeze buff, basically getting a lot more cold damage for 20 seconds. This scales up to a minute. I'm not using it that often because of basically the low physical damage and making it really hard to proc it on enemies. So I might just skip on this and do something else, maybe another skill, or just leave it out completely. I need to figure that out. Last skill, a Rampage. If you are asking, by the way, what makes you get that freeze damage, is because of this lineage support gem, Bataille's Vengeance. If you freeze someone, you basically get 1% this extra cold damage for each amount of rage you have, so it can be really powerful. Next to that, Rampage, Tectonic Slams. Again, Slams and Titan are like a dream made true. Made come true. It's the empowerment, which is really strong on that part. Only, it's not that great when you combine it with Mountain Splitters, so that's why I use Tectonic Slams and got the Ancestral Empowerment, because it's more comfortable to run and you don't have to calculate every third slam you do. You need to run it with Rampage. It's just too much of an hassle. So, Fist of War 3 for again. Here's a strong empowerment, momentum, and increased fire damage. Last one is, I think, probably something with the channeling that does more damage, or anything with movement, because it's a movement skill, to bump up the damage even more. Or, yeah, something similar like that. So that are the supports. Last thing for the supports is Ferocious Roar. Now, Ferocious Roar has a really cool interaction. Shout out to Dreamcore for coming up with that interaction when it comes to the second skills or second weapon setup. Due to the unique Amor Mandragora, you gain 1 druid prowess for every 20 total rage spent. This is really good because it basically increases your skill speed by 30% and some spell increased damage or whatever. Due to that, we can have a certain interaction where we spend 20 rage with a rage Warcry 1, specifically Warcry 1, not 2. Why is so we have basically 0 rage and then get another 30 rage and 0 and 30 and 0, due to it overcapping to fill our Walking Calamity. Now, we do that in combination with Raging Cry. Per 5 power of counted enemies, you grant 4 rage. These nodes are not mandatory, so basically if you get these 2 nodes, it's really powerful. But you need to have specced in Roaring Cries. War Cries have a minimum power of 10. So that you do not need any enemies in your presence, basically, to activate the War Cry and get the power from the enemies. So this is a mandatory thing. Next to that, I've specced in the second skill tree for this weapon set in also these nodes, increased total power counted by War Cries, so you always get a certain amount of power to fill up basically your Walking Calamity once it hits 0, because we do not have any inherent rage regeneration due to not being a druid or having this passive skill noted. It's shit because you get no rage effect, but it is what it is. Other than that, increase your Warcry speed. It's the most important thing. I also have a jewel here that gives me that Warcry speed and Warcry damage. Also got lucky with a life regen. It's pretty decent. Might switch out for something else, but the Warcry speed is really nice. It gets to about 30 plus Warcry speed total, so that's another free node. Later on, we specced into these nodes. Warcry recovery cooldown. It's not really important, but it's increased damage for each time you've Warcried recently, so you can also get that to a higher amount. Work rate speed, area of effect, work rate speed. Also, here is the empowered attacks, bonus damage, also the chance to explode. Work rate speed, work rate speed, work rate speed, and work rate inflict 3 critical weakness on enemies. So, due to that, it's really powerful. And how it works basically is, maybe you saw that earlier in the clip. We have the roar, ferocious roar setup. I will activate it. But normally, it will fill up your rage bar. You can see here the rage bar. It fills it up really fast. That overcaps the rage you do get from that because of the glory. And once it runs out, it's really easy to just activate it again in a fraction of a second. So sometimes you need to stop, work a bit, activate the Walking Calamity again, and you will not have any uses with rage. Alright, that's about it when it comes to the passive tree and gems. We will go over the gear section. I have got the Fury of the King, really decent roll on it. I think about 750 fire damage or damage per second. And another good thing is this doesn't have to be 5. This can be 2. This can be even corrupted at 0 if necessary. But that doesn't matter because we generate glory via the roar to get the Walking Calamity skill up. So this is not really mandatory. We only do this, we only get this because of the good flat fire damage and the Molten Crash ability. Other than that, it's not really useful. Also, the exposure effect is nice and the bear skills convert physical damage to fire. Yes, that is also really nice. So if you can get it, don't look at this stat, just look at the most fire damage you can get on it and hopefully get the increased attack speed note as well. But yeah, just don't worry about this. Next, we have the cuffs or the gloves. This can get an upgrade, but +2 to melee skills, attack speed, life, armor, resistances, all that stuff is really powerful. Resistances is life on your belt. Could also use some armor, but that's for future upgrade. Boots, maximum movement speed, life, strength, resistances, high amount of armor. Anything you can fit in to basically make it a good pair of boots with high armor, life, and the resistances you need. Pretty decent chest if I say so myself. I found this, I crafted this. The only thing I need to change is the low amount of armor and energy shield. I need to get that to a higher amount because it's a really low tier, low tier 7. But that will make it about 1000 armor just if I get 100 or tier 1 roll on it. So that's a future thing. Other than that, it's really powerful due to the spirit. And we run 3 buffs with another 2 buffs for cannibalism and vitality. So that's why I have that much amount of spirit increase. And it's a hybrid, so it's always nice to have some energy shield. It basically doesn't do anything for us, but still, it's a little bit, it's something. It's a little health pool extra that regens automatically once we are out of combat. So it's pretty decent. Next, the helmet. The helmet also, same for the boots and the gloves. Armor, resistance, life, maybe chaos resistance if you're lucky. Rarity is also if you have the money to spend. The same counts for the boots and the gloves. But if possible, also you can get armor to elemental damage. In my opinion, it's at this moment not necessary because we are capped at 100%. Or maybe even 101%, I'm not sure. But it basically is at 100% of elemental damage from armor. Or armor applies to elemental damage. So that is pretty good. So the more armor you have, the better it is, basically. Rings. Resistance, fire damage, life, maybe even flat fire damage to attacks is also really powerful. or physical damage. That's also good. The other ring has a lot of physical damage, chaos damage. It's poop, cold damage. Also, this is also a replacement ring soon. 12 all res and some chaos resistance, also on a chaos base ring. So you can see my resistances is at 73%, 75 capped, lightning resistance and fire. So I need to change a little bit to get everything capped basically. But 73% is nothing to sneeze about. Last amulet. Yeah, I just got a spirit amulet base for the increased spirit. Spirit on itself as well. Max life, resistances. And the best thing you can get that after that, like an end game thing, is the melee skills. +2. It does boost your damage by quite a lot, but it's very, very expensive at this moment of the league. But it should be possible once we later have some more money again. But that's gonna be the end game goal. Get all the resistances up, max. Get some more armor maybe with a better base of this. Some melee skills, more attack speed, stuff like that. So yeah. Instant applies to flask on the life flask is really important because we get in a lot of situations where either we get demolished by some crazy abyss mob or some crazy one shot. So be careful of those. Get the applies instantly. It will help you save your butt a lot of the times. Frozen charm, Arakali's gifts. It's meh. I will need to see what other options there are for this one and this one, because Ngamu's Chosen is also not mandatory anymore after you've left, campaign or whatever, or until you have the Roar set up for the Walking Calamity generation and Roar regeneration, because this doesn't have any use for you then. So this is also some things I need to replace in the future. But for now, it's fine and it works as it is. So that's about it. Yeah. Walking Calamity build. Just a quick overview about the Molten Crash. So, for example, if you're at a boss, you roar, get your Walking Calamity up. Preferably get the Lunar Assault buff up if it's possible. Like I said, it's really not really that useful right now, so if it's possible to get the buff, do it. It gives you some extra damage. Activate the Savage Fury and just go ham on the boss. Basically put down all of these, put a roar up, and then just do this and the boss will just die instantly. Also what you can do is Ferocious Slam to get this increased effect. Roar some more times, get the Calamity up. So it's basically a rotation of most of the skills. And it works fine. Most of the time you already like one shot a pack once you do this slam, the Molten Crash. But if it doesn't get killed, you can use the Ferocious Slam for a quick damage setup while you have Walking Calamity up. And yeah, just rotate, see what you like. I don't really like Rampage, but it is pretty good. Especially if you get a nice big open map. But other than that, it's not really that great because you get stuck a lot. But yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. And feel free to share the YouTube video, subscribe, like, whatever you want to do. This is my first video for this this YouTube account, so really explain something in PoE 2. So hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Bye bye.